Kerri here. It is Tuesday chat, and yeah, welcome. Welcome, especially if this is your first time at one of my Tuesday chats. It's something I do every single week on Facebook. I did try to share to Instagram and YouTube, but it was a bit confusing for me. So we just stick with Facebook now. So, and of course, the replay is up straight afterwards. So, sorry, I've got a cough. Yeah, so thank you for joining me. And like I said, if this is your first time, what I do is every week I usually have some art topic that I like to talk about and get feedback, and you can pop questions in the chat as well. Every now and again, I also do a draw along, like a free drawing session, which I'm thinking we haven't done one of those. We did one about a month or so ago. So I'll probably try and get another one of those done this month too. So, hi Odette. Christy's on as well. Awesome. So, yeah, so I love having everyone comment in the chat because I can answer questions, and it's good to know that there are some people actually listening. I know a lot of you guys watch the replay, which is also good, and you can still put comments in the chat, or if you have something in particular you really wanted to discuss with me about the topic, or even if you have an idea of something you'd like me to talk about in a future chat, then you can just message me as well. All right, Evelyn's on, Deb, Andrea as well. So yeah, it's great to see everyone. I've got a little bit of water here. It's not a cough. It's not even a tickle. I don't know what it is. Whenever I talk, it just feels like I have to cough right here. So anyway, you'll have to bear with me. Hi, Deb, as well. Okay, so today, I think I've chatted a little bit about this before, but how art supports mental and emotional health. I thought it was a great topic to talk about at the moment because I have a lot of students that have gone through different challenges and are experiencing those at the moment. And I feel that the demographic of my students and people who watch me on Facebook here, we're getting to an age that life can throw some challenges at us, you know, so whether it's our own pains like maybe arthritis, or maybe you're having knee surgeries, it could be like me, I'm getting to a point that my parents are going to need care, and I know there's quite a few of my students even locally that are going through that at the moment, having to be away helping their parents transition into you know, maybe palliative care, things like that. So our time gets taken up a lot with helping out there. Grief, of course, we may have lost a loved one recently, or even pets. You know, I've had a few students lose their pets lately, and that can be just as heartbreaking, especially when you've had them for quite a long time. And you know, sometimes I think our dogs especially, they're part of the family, aren't they? It's like losing one of the family members. So I just wanted to like reestablish to everyone who is going through any problems, or, you know, things have been thrown in our way, of ways that art can really help and try and keep it in your life. You know, so I think it's really important. Yeah, Karen, art is your escape from reality. Exactly. You may not even be going through like a huge thing like losing a loved one, but there's so many reasons that you might need that escape. Okay. Yeah, you know, just the pressure of life, even watching the news maybe needs you to get away from reality. okay? But I know it can be hard, and art can slip away, and don't be hard on yourself. But I just want to remind everyone how important it is to try and do something even in those really tough times, because I know art, we always think of it as just a hobby sometimes, and it's the first thing to go when we either get busy or when we don't really feel like it. But it is really, really important. Hi Julie as well, and Donna's on too. All right, so art is self-care. So think of art as a form of self-care. So just like if you were going for a walk, or people do gardening or journaling, writing their thoughts, drawing a picture is self-care as well. It's something that is, it's as important as going to the gym, I suppose. We're working on our mind rather than our body. Hi Julianne as well. So it can help reduce anxiety, of course. So studies show that art making lowers cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, and boosts serotonin, which is the feel-good chemical. It can boost your mood. So even 20 minutes of sketching or painting or doodling can shift your outlook and help you feel a bit lighter. And also processing emotions. So when words are hard to find, art sort of gives us another language, doesn't it? There's two parts. The first section I dropped out, so I will put those together on the replay and make sure it's all just one. Okay, so like we were talking about, art as mental health. So, and I was mentioning how I ran through the different ways art can really help, and I was just mentioning how like just even a 20 minutes sketching or something can really help just relax if you're feeling stressed. But I was also saying sometimes when people say just sketch for 20 minutes, it can be really hard because you have no idea. You think, well, what am I going to sketch? Okay, but you need to take that away and don't even worry about what you should be sketching. Just sit down at a desk, at the kitchen bench, anywhere, and just look at what's near you. So like I said, for me, there's a water bottle I could sketch. I have a tape measure here, I could sketch. I have a beautiful rock, I could sketch. I have a tape dispenser. So there's a lot of things, if I just focus on one, to sketch. So that's something you could do if you're really feeling stressed out and you just want to like relax for a minute. Just have a bit of paper or a pencil handy and just look at what's near you and just try and sketch it. It doesn't matter if it's no good. You're doing it for yourself to relax. Even if you start sketching and then just go off doing doodles or something, or drawing circles or lines or cross-hatching, anything like that can help. Okay. And maybe even just working on a small section of a larger piece. That works for me. As my students know, I break things down in all my tutorials. I break everything down so that I'm not sitting for hours and hours on end. And also I think if you know exactly what you need to do, then it's less daunting as well. So maybe something that's not too hard to get started, that you can, do a section at a time maybe. Pastels are absolutely ideal for this because there's no cleanup. And so you could still work on a larger piece, even if like you've lost all your mojo, things are happening in your life that is just all too much. But maybe you've got a commission you need to get done. You could still get that done, but just break it down into much smaller steps, and just focus on getting one little section done. So maybe you can get just the one eye done today, even if it's just 10 minutes, or maybe you can get a little section of fur done. So there's you could still work on a large piece even if a lot's happening in your life, but just break it right down. That's how I do things anyway. And I feel like you've accomplished something, even if it was only 10 minutes. Don't think about how long it took, just think about you've got that little section done. You know, even if you're working on a bird and it's just this one little foot, something like that. Okay, and it also, I think, getting that feeling of accomplished will help you to maybe keep going, and you can maybe spare another 10 minutes. You know, I like doing details, so I actually, rather than doing maybe just a sketch, I like to work on a larger piece. And just having one on the go, like I have a large easel over to the side. So I'm always doing lessons and tutorials for my students, but I like to have something larger that I'm working on and I can just go and do a section of it. So, and even things, something I think is good is if you've got a repetitive thing. So say something that is just all shells maybe, or all different leaves. Something that, like if you look up online, you'll find a lot of free reference photos of this type of thing. Or you could go out in your yard and just take a close-up photo of maybe just some close-ups of lots of little flower petals, or how leaves are falling on the ground. Something that is very repetitive and as a whole looks like quite a daunting painting, but when you just focus on, like, say if it's shells, one shell at a time, and it's just something that you can have. It doesn't have to be big, and it can just be in graphite even, just an ongoing artwork that you're working on, that when you do start to feel overwhelmed or something, you can go and just draw one section. I have this set of pumice stones that I'm doing, again, most of you know I've got a solo exhibition next year on, I'm doing it based on Fraser Island, which is now called Kerri up here. But I went and there was pumice stone all over the beach. So I put it all together because I thought it would make a cool painting for my exhibition. So this is the sort of thing I'm talking about. So I can just, you know, one stage I'll just get the line art and get this bit of background done, but I can just work on one little pumice stone at a time. I've got half a year to get it done. So it's one of those that I will just have on the easel, that I will just over time, when I'm feeling like I need a break from doing tutorials and other things, I can just go and draw one of those little rocks, little pumice stones. And but that works if you like the details, which that to me, I get lost in details. I could sit for hours just working, refining. So that works for me. So I suppose you need to also think to yourself, how do you like to work? But even, like I said, even just a graphite pencil in a sketchbook, but doing little detail things like that is also great. So of course, art is a way to create space for yourself when life feels overwhelming. And like I said, there's so many reasons that we can be overwhelmed, like I was talking about a little bit earlier. We have all different things that can get us down. Everyone has something going on. You know, every time you think it's great, you know, even when you're retired, something will happen that sort of tries to knock us down, but we just keep going, and art is perfect for that. And that's what I want to stress in this chat, that just, you know, don't let art get lost. Use it as a therapy. Okay, so so when we do talk about art as a therapy, it's not just a feel-good idea. There's real science behind why it works. So I did a little bit of research, and work, and I've written down some scientific reasons of why art does actually work for therapy. So it's the brain's reward system. So when we create art, our brain releases dopamine, which is the feel-good neurotransmitter. These are going to be some big words for me. So this is the same chemical hit that you get from listening, say, to your favourite song, or eating chocolate, or even being praised. So for people struggling with depression or anxiety or even chronic pain, boosting the dopamine can literally shift your mood and motivation. So think of it as your brain's way of giving you a pat on the back. So every brushstroke and every sketch is a tiny reward. All right. So, and then there's cortisol and stress reduction. So several studies have shown that making art lowers cortisol levels, and that is the stress hormone. So in one study, people who made art for 45 minutes showed significant drops in cortisol, and did art for 45 minutes, it showed those significant drops in the cortisol. So that means even doodling or colouring can help calm the body's stress response. So say colouring books or Zentangles. You know them Zentangle books. I don't actually have one, so I've never done Zentangles. But colouring books, there's so many beautiful books out there. They're great because you don't actually have to think of what you're doing. So you don't have to come up with what to paint or draw. So if you just want to do something, but you don't want the drama of having to set up, find a photo, do a line art, do all that sort of stuff, just have a colouring book on hand. There's some beautiful adult colouring books out there, and just doing that can really help take your mind off things. This is testing me today. All right, so like I said, it's not about painting a masterpiece. It's about letting your nervous system sort of exhale. And then there's mindfulness and flow. So art brings us into a state of flow, which is similar to meditation. In flow, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that worries and plans, actually goes quiet. So this is why time disappears when you're immersed in a painting, and why you then walk away feeling refreshed. And I know a lot of you would have experienced that, which is the state of flow that a lot of people call it, when you do get so involved in your creativity that before you know it, a few hours have gone by. And it is the best feeling, and I feel like a lot of artists, we strive to get back into that because it is so good. So, for many of my students, even half an hour creativity feels like pressing pause on all the sort of noise that's in our life. So that's why even if you get a chance at any time, I would recommend trying to get to an art retreat, even if it's just a 3-day one, because it's just such a wonderful break, and it's just great for your overall well-being, because you're spending the whole time around others that love what you're doing, they're like-minded. But it's just a whole week of just hanging out and doing art, and any art retreat really. It's very beneficial. Okay, so and then we have pain management. So creative activity can distract the brain from pain signals. So hospitals sometimes use art therapy for patients with chronic pain or recovering from surgery. Engaging the hands and the imagination stimulates different neural pathways, which can literally rewire the brain over time. So building resilience against stress and discomfort. When you have back pain and maybe you're stuck sitting, your mind is focusing in on that throbbing pain. But if you can do something else, then you'll focus on something other than the pain. So say if you're dealing with arthritis or maybe recovering from an operation, again, even that simple colouring book can help shift the focus away from the pain and give your brain that much needed rest. I'm sorry if this is wobbly, guys, but I'm trying to hold this phone and talk at the same time and read my notes. Okay, so then there is emotional expression and memory. So the amygdala, your brain's emotional center, responds strongly to color, shape, and symbolism. So that's why painting your feelings as sort of abstract shapes or colors can be just as therapeutic as writing them down. It also ties into memory. So art can help unlock and process experiences that are hard to verbalize. So that's also, I mentioned before, where when you put grief or joy or fear into colour, it can feel lighter, and you've moved it out of your head and into the world, sort of where it can be seen. So you may not have been able to talk about it, but you can, sorry, I'm putting my hand in the way of the camera, or you can, you might not be able to talk about it or express it verbally, but you can get it out with your art. Okay, hold on, I need to try and move that like that. There we go, so I can still read this. Okay, so some practical sort of strategies. So here are a few simple ways to make art part of your wellbeing routine, especially if you are struggling with things at the moment. So just remember, create without any judgment. So not everything has to be a masterpiece. When we're talking about art as therapy, sometimes it's better just to be able to do some art. Okay, don't worry about the end result. Just actually do some art. Soothing choices, so calming colours, repetitive strokes. So doing like simple pencil exercises can be good. Or just make simple patterns. It can be really meditative. Or say if the ocean is relaxing, is a relaxing place for you, maybe paint some waves and it can sort of transform you to that happy, calming place. It doesn't matter if it turns out any good. It's just putting you in that sort of place. So you can express your emotions visually. So try abstract marks or colours to represent feelings. Or if abstract isn't your thing, try doing monochrome painting in a calming colour. Like, I don't know if you can see over here, my latest tutorial, which those in my membership have access to today. But over here, there is this it's a Sphinx cat. Let me move back here. Okay, and it is done in monochrome, and being all in blues, blue is a calming colour. So even, like I said, just painting something in a colour like that, or say if you're really angry about something, you know, something's happened and it's really made you angry and you want to get those emotions out, then maybe do painting all in angry colours like reds, you know, and then yellow is hopeful, so you could do something in yellow if you wanted to have something more hopeful. So so using colour as therapy as well can really help. So then also maybe start tiny. So like I said earlier, even 10 minutes counts. Break, even if you're doing a larger painting, you can break it down into 10 to 15 minutes. You could journal your feelings, so instead of writing, paint or draw what you're experiencing. Set gentle routines, so make art time part of your week, so just like walking or gardening, like I said earlier as well. And then consistency, not perfection, is what helps the most. So here are some ways to gently reintroduce art into your routine. So schedule creative appointments. Put a weekly art session in your calendar, even if it is just 20 minutes. You could pair it with something familiar. So sketch when you're having morning tea, maybe, or paint while listening to your favourite radio show or podcast. Prepare a simple kit, so a sketchbook and a few pencils or pastels, having that ready to go removes the barrier to set up. Or like I always tell my students, you need an art space that you don't need to pack away each day. being able to just sit down and get straight into it really does make a huge difference when you are time poor. And then maybe start with warm-up. So gesture drawing is a great way to get started, or doing creating swatches of colours, colour picking for a painting, or doing warm-up marks like pencil marks, doing cross-hatching, drawing circles, things like that. It can take the pressure off and then get you into the flow. And then, of course, celebrate your progress, not perfection. So maybe take photos of your art at each stage. And when you look back, you'll see that growth. And you may not notice it in the moment, but when you look back at your photos, you'll see it. All right. I'm just going to move this again. Again, like I said, I cannot see comments, so I'm really sorry if you've added a comment and I'm not responding. I will check them once I finish the live and get back to everyone then. So, all right, so I wanted to get even more specific on ways to sort of do some art, like schedule art into your time. So I'm trying to change my hand angle there. So more specifically for certain things which could work. So for those experiencing pain, maybe gentle distractions. So use art as a mindful activity to take the focus away from the pain. So simple repetitive patterns like drawing mandalas or doodling lines and shapes. There's not much decision making there, but it's just a distraction. Or maybe energy friendly projects. So work small, tiny sketches, postcard sized paintings, or colouring in pre-drawn outlines like a colouring book. So these let you create without exhausting yourself. So if you're experiencing a lot of pain, you don't want to have to think too hard about it. So that's where those simpler activities are going to be better. For those experiencing loss, so emotion mapping, could use colour and abstract shapes to express feelings. So no pressure for it to look good, just let it be an outlet for grief or memories. Motivation through ritual. So set aside a quiet time once a week to light a candle and make art, even if it's just 10 minutes, and connect it to remembering your loved one. So the practice feels meaningful rather than like a chore. But I do know it can be hard, but when the time is right, even creating a painting of the one you lost, whether it's a person or an animal. For me, I want to do a painting of all my sheep that I watched get swept away in the floods nearly 3 years ago now. But it was a huge loss for me. But I have the image in my mind of what I want to paint, but it has been too raw. So, but I think I'm starting to get on the other side of it. And I think I'm nearly ready to be able to do that painting. So I know it can take time to do that. Like if you've just lost a pet or a loved one, you're not instantly going to want to do a painting of them. But it is a big part of a healing process. Because, when you're drawing something or someone, nothing connects you to that animal or person than drawing them. We know as artists, you're really focusing, you're bringing life to the eyes, like, the eyes, you're really looking at detail, so you're seeing that person or animal in super detail. And it's something that I do feel it's part of the healing process to do that. Oh, sorry, my my arm's getting sore from holding this up. But yeah, but I do know it. Like I said, it's been 3 years for me, and I haven't been able to paint them. But it's something I know I do want to do, and I will get there. And but yeah, it's yeah. So be gentle on yourself. Let me put it that way. Don't put pressure on yourself to do that. But I know you probably want to, but just give it time. All right, I'm trying to read my notes. And then for those that are caregivers, like starting to have to spend more time looking after their parents, then maybe your time poor, of course. And also you probably could be very overwhelmed with the responsibility as well, because I know some people, some of my students, it's been thrown on their shoulders a lot. You know, whether you're an only sibling or you're the only sibling to be doing anything. I'm very lucky. My brother is really hands-on with my mum and dad, so it takes a lot of the pressure off me. But I know as they get, you know, further and further along, I'm going to have to, they're 3 hours away. So I know I'm going to have to be spending a lot more time down in Brisbane to help my brother out and to help them out. So, but just keep in mind, art on the go. So keep a simple, just a small sketchbook and pen and pencil in your bag. So, you know, waiting times in the at hospital appointments or respite care visits, just use them as little creative pockets of time. So micro moments of creativity. So choose activities that can pick you up, that you can pick up and put down quickly. So maybe like adding just one layer of colour or doing a sketch, or even think about taking reference photos that you could later maybe turn into a drawing. I've seen a lot of people sketch hospital scenes because they're spending hours and hours in a hospital with a loved one. So they're not the one sick, but they're the one in there doing the caring. And you see quite, like I see it all the time, people sketching hospital beds and all the rest of it. And yeah, it's a really great way to relax your mind and de-stress a little bit. So I just wanted to really break some, I think they're like I said, art can be used for, there's so many reasons it can be used for mental health. But those three, that pain, loss, and I think becoming caregivers, like I said, for a lot of my students are at that age that their parents are starting to need more help. So I think they're the three most important ones that would resonate with my students and people watching this. So I really want to try and give you some points of action that you could try and really take. So, but yeah, it's okay. Just remember, it is okay to pause. I'm not telling you need to just keep doing art all the time. But you can come back to it as a form of healing after you've gone through that pain or loss. So it doesn't just belong in the good times. Okay, it's a safe place to land when life feels heavy as well. Okay, and then of course community. Community is a huge one. All my members that are watching this know that the Creative Barn community is there and is a great way to share. Even if you don't share your full grief and loss, but just knowing that there are people there that can they're on your side more or less, you know, they're really open to learning and helping you through times. So community, of course, you need to find your community. Once you do, it's really important. That could just be one or two people, or it could be a larger group. But don't forget, you do have people around you that do care and will help you through. All right. So if you're struggling right now, whether with health, grief, or the demands of caring for others, it's okay if your art practice does look different. Maybe it's smaller, it's slower, or less frequent. So that doesn't make it any less valuable. So even 10 minutes of mindful creativity can give you a sense of calm and control in a world that sometimes feels really overwhelming. Oh, this is so wobbly with my arms. Art won't take away life's challenges, but it can help you navigate them with a little bit more lightness. Okay, so I just want to encourage you, like I keep stressing, give yourself time, but don't forget art is there in all its many different forms to help you get through any mental health issues you have, or pain, all the rest of it. Okay, so again, like I said, I can't see any comments, unfortunately. But, no, hold on. Yeah, no, I cannot see comments. So, all right, thank you so much for joining me. I know this has been a bit of a mess up, but I will try and put this all together in one video and put it up as a replay, so it's not so disjointed. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has helped anyone who has experienced some life changes like that, and given you some ideas of ways you can still keep doing a little bit of art through whatever you're going through. Okay, and yeah, I will see you all next Tuesday. I promise I will have something a bit lighter to talk about, maybe. And yeah, and like I said, in the next, probably towards the end of this month, we'll also do another draw along through the Tuesday chat. Okay, thanks everyone, and I will see you all later. Bye.